All right, welcome everybody to our latest Live Motocross podcast as I'm joined by former star racer Jackson Richardson, who didn't disappoint with the social media banter and heat this weekend during what was a wild A2. And we're also going to chat about Glendale preview. Plenty of great betting action this weekend, some new odds introduced, so it's going to be exciting, mate. But before we welcome you, we'd like to thank the partners in Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silkleen for all their incredible support, as without them, none of this would be possible. All right, Jats, how's life, mate? And thanks for joining us.
Oh, mate, you know what? Life's been good. I mean, we've been hard at it. Couple of days absolutely slogging it out this week, but you know what? It's been good. Long weekend probably came at a very good time. And yeah, it was just racing all weekend for me. So yeah, just got to chill out with the family, watch the race, and then once the racing started, I just huddled up in my cocoon really, and I was just locked in for the weekend.
Oh, mate, great times for Australia Day, tucking into some Supercross, Arena Cross, and everything else, mate. And obviously, there was some good action to keep everyone entertained, wasn't there, with the fighting and whatnot at the Supercross, which made it onto Barstool Sports. So that's a pretty good place to start, isn't it, mate, from A2?
Oh yeah, and I mean the day started off on an absolute heater with that qualifying scuffle. I know one of the guys that was involved was Braden Spangle, I believe, and there was another dude in there, and they were just and like actually it was pretty weird. I thought, well, apparently some things were brewing up before that point, before the scuffle ensued. But yeah, they just getting heated on the hot lap, guys getting in each other's way. I mean, it happens all the time, but yeah, obviously there was a boiling point, and then it turned into an absolute dogfight on the ground between the two. There was one suplex, there was a headlock, a couple of body shots got thrown in, and then that was it. And then I can't remember. I know Spangle got disqualified for the night, and then I don't know what happened to the other guy. I don't know if he was allowed to race still or not. But yeah, wild way to start. And then yeah, I mean the racing as well for that night. It was awesome. I had said it to you like on the weekend. Like I was thinking this is got to be like the most exciting start to a season that I could possibly remember. Really, like as far as just the three races go. Like every race so far has been close. It's pretty much like A1 probably got, I mean, a little bit out of him, but for the most part, that was close. And then San Diego and A2 have just been absolute barn burners so far in the 450 class, and in the 250 class as well. The racing's been good. So yeah, we're off to a heater of a start to the season, and both championships are close. A lot of drama in each class, which is always a good thing as well. So yeah, no, we're off to a flyer this start.
Oh, mate, it's going to be awesome. And it was pretty fitting that those blokes started throwing hands when Chad Reed's on there with AC and Braden just in the background. It's just great timing, mate. Couldn't have worked it out any better, could they?
Oh yeah, AC has perfectly commentated that sequence of events in that one. He was like, "Man, these guys are not going to be allowed in the stadium after this one." And like, oh, it was funny. I thought it was a bit harsh that like one of them got disqualified because I mean, far out. Like we can't be having that. We can't be having that sort of thing happen. Like you know what? Sometimes things get heated on on the field or on the track and shit like that. Because like I remember like the time when Weston Pike absolutely donkey punched the shit out of Vince Freeze that night. I was in the stadium that night, and then he got disqualified that night. And then next week, fell in the opening ceremony. What do they have on the video board in the opening montage is just Weston Pike just beating the shit out of Vince Freeze. And I'm like, come on. You like find the guy. You like actually, well, he got disqualified from that night, and then he wasn't allowed to race at San Diego the next week. And then I was like, venues are going to use this as a highlight for the rest of the season. You got to be kidding me. So I reckon, like, at least, like, just make it $100 fine or something. Because at least then there'd be guys out there going, fuck it. I'll swallow $100 here if I can get my licks in on this fella. Like, that would just be great. Like, just let the boys punch it out. I mean, they got helmets on, for fuck's sakes. Like, none of these boys are getting hurt. Like, if something goes on back in the pits, like Like, fuck. Like, maybe do something about it then if someone can get it. But if it's on the track, like, far out. These guys ain't gonna get hurt unless they get a karate chop to the jugular, maybe. I don't know. But just let them hash it out on track.
No, mate, that'd definitely elevate the profile of the sport for sure, mate. Get a few more views and eyes on. But I guess talking about A2, mate, the track with the two whoops was pretty cool. Actually, a really good build. The tracks have been pretty awesome to start the season, so props to the builders for sure, mate. But Jet was definitely a class above, mate. It was really impressive. He was on rails and, put on a masterclass. He was really patient making that move on Anderson because he knew he wanted to make it and then get it done clean and then move away so there was no chance for retaliation and, just make it happen. And then he progressed on with his race really nicely and pretty scary to think that there's still a lot of improvement to be had on that bike and he didn't get much riding in the lead up due to that crazy weather event going on. So pretty ominous signs, mate, that he's just going to keep getting better and better as he gets the bike better and better. But coming into this weekend, mate, $2.10 for the win and $1.45 for the podium. They're definitely keen on Jet, aren't they? But your thoughts on the odds and his race at A2, pretty impressive.
No, man. I mean, it was probably like a time where he probably needed to win more than anything, to be honest. Like, just with like the way the second round was good. I mean, he was like not far off of winning that one, but the way round one unfolded, and then not only that, he had the off the track dramas as well. Like, I'm sure that played on his mind too. And then yeah, for some reason, like, and it was like, he was coming in at $2.50 as well, which he was still the favorite. And I thought to myself, this has got to be the time to put a bet on him here because I was like, I don't know, just with all the shit that's going on, you would think he would maybe struggle, definitely not have a win in him this weekend, and like that would be understandable. But then he just comes out and puts on an absolute clinic. And I mean, it looked like it in practice from the jump. Like just in like from what I saw on the broadcast and then on social media as well, just the way he moves on the bike, like you can tell when he's like really in the zone. And like I mean, like even like when he doesn't look too comfortable, he doesn't look too out of sorts, but like, yeah, just the way he was getting around the track was like just effortless and like just the way he was moving around on the bike. And, he was the only one to bust out that quad as well after the finish, which I didn't think it was that much quicker, and like maybe it didn't at all. But then like, a good start definitely helped him as well. And then just like waited and waited, like had a couple of chances at Ando a few times. And then just, yeah, waited for the perfect time to, like, pass and then create a gap straight away because he knows, like, Anderson will run it in on you, like, if he gets a chance. So, yeah, it was just an absolute clinic, like, just all weekend on a difficult track as well, like, with the rain and everything. And, yeah, to your point, I reckon these first three rounds, the track layouts have been awesome so far. Like, I feel like they've created great racing. And like, yeah, and like with the two whoops as well, like that was awesome too. And like they built it a different way, like they rolled them a bit, like and did something a bit different. And I honestly believe that's the way to go as well. And like with these tracks, like yeah, I mean you're not gonna get them perfect every single time. I mean, that's just a given. And then like I heard him talk about it on Pulp this morning, they had the Dirtworks guy in. And they were like, you know what? Riders just aren't going to be happy no matter what. Or you're going to get five guys that say this is the best track they've ever ridden. And then you're going to get five guys that come in and say this is absolute dog shit. So, I mean, you're not going to please everyone. But to me, like, even from a rider's perspective, I like the way these three tracks have been so far. They've been pretty flowy. They've created opportunity for some great racing. And yeah, so like the boys from Dirtworks have put in a massive effort this year, and they've been trying different things as well. Like, and they're trying to take in the rider feedback as well, and then make the tracks a little more rider friendly, too, and like taking in like what the critiques that the riders are giving them. And then, yeah, I mean, like, at the end of the day, you're not going to please everyone. Like, no one, like, you're not going to get all 22 guys on the grid that are gonna be like, oh, this track's sick. Like, it's just not gonna happen. So, but I mean, from what I've seen in the races, like the racing's been good. So like you can't complain too much about it. Like the racing's been close in like both classes for the most part. So yeah, no, it's been good.
Yeah, there was obviously a lot of chat about, always there's a lot of chat about the tracks, but obviously the whoops as well. And Jet was saying in the press conference, make them harder, make them bigger. He's all for it. And obviously the steamrolling of them too, he said he enjoyed as well. So yeah, there's a lot of chat about that. He wants that separation so the elite guys can skim them because they put that work in to skim them and master that craft. And then for him to be nine and just people jumping them, Jet was like, it sort of levels the playing field too much because we can't gain the advantage from obviously putting the work in essentially. So it's an interesting one to follow how that works out throughout the season. And Glendale set have some massive rhythm sections, so it'll be pretty cool where they can do some different things maybe and gain some separation that way as well because Jet, Deeg and these guys are going to be probably trying to put a flex on, doing a little bit something different, put the pressure on their opponents, mate. So it's going to be interesting to watch out. But heading into Glendale, mate, Kenny's with the red plate on the Suzuki. That's pretty cool. He's gone 2-4-2, consistent. Looking pretty strong on the starts mostly. Pretty cool to see the Suzuki and the HEP team have a red plate. It's obviously, you look back a couple of years, you wouldn't think that would be possible. But, he's looking good too, Kenny. He's not dropping off like he might have in the past. The staying power's there. So just a little bit of a take on the whoops and Ken Roxon having the red plate, mate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty wild to think like the first time Suzuki's had the red plate since Kenny was there with RCH in 2015. Like, that's just wild to think about, eh? And then, like, one of the things I've seen from Kenny on the weekend actually is like how aggressive he was, because Kenny's like usually he's pretty pretty precise with how he makes moves, like, and that could have and that might have hindered him in the past, but for the most part it's been like one of his strong points, especially on lap one. He knows how to slice and dice his way through like better than anyone. And then, like, there was a couple of times on the weekend there where I haven't seen out of him too often where, like, when he was on the back of Jet, like, he went to make a couple of aggressive moves and they didn't work out. And, like it was after the finish he tried and then, like, he missed the rhythm after it. But I almost saw that as, like, a bit of a good thing for him because it shows that, like, he's being aggressive and, like, he's confident to try and go after these guys instead of, maybe sitting back and, maybe waiting for a mistake or something like that. Like, he's going for it. And he had the speed to get around Jet at the start of the race, I believe. And, so it's pretty cool to see, especially Kenny's had trouble with consistency, like the last couple of years, like he could be on the podium one weekend and then, he's back like around seventh or eighth, like the next weekend. But like for the start of the season, he's had 2-4-2, and like he's been in the mix. Like was close to being 2-3-2. He almost got Coop at San Diego there a couple of times at the end. So like he's looking good, man, and like having the red plate obviously is a big confidence booster. And then also for him, like going into Glendale, a track where he's had plenty of success at, like winning a Triple Crown there in the past on Honda, and then winning there last year as well. And he's always good on these slick surfaces. His throttle control is like one of the best, if not the best in the class on those sort of surfaces. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I've got confidence in him, obviously. I've thrown a pineapple on him for the win this weekend. I just think it's the perfect storm for this one. Ken Roxon, Glendale, Triple Crown. I mean, opportunities like this don't come often. So, yeah, I've absolutely hammered Kenny for the win this weekend.
Yeah, mate, I can't blame you. At $8.50, that's pretty juicy. And even for the podium, $2.80, you could probably double up and go on that too.
Yeah.
And Jason Anderson at $29 for the win is pretty good as well. And obviously $5 for the podium. So that's quite impressive odds too. You'll be having a fancy of those.
Oh, 100%, absolutely. Especially like Ando, he dropped off a bit towards the end of that race on the weekend, but still like led over half the race. And, he's fighting the flu as well. And that's one thing we got to look out for too, is like a lot of guys at the moment are struggling with the flu that's going around. AP's been struggling with it. Hunter's been struggling with it. And like even a good buddy of mine, Hunter Yoda,
Oh,
He put up a photo. He was throwing up into a bucket before the main event. So like, I mean, it's just spreading like wildfire, this thing. So yeah, like a lot of guys are getting taken out with it. Chase has been struggling a bit with it as well. Like they
mm.
announced that about halfway through the main when they did a report. Like he had been struggling with the flu as well, so he didn't know if he was going to have enough gas in the tank for the end of the moto. But yeah, it's knocking guys around. And I mean, to my knowledge, I mean, I'm no flu expert or like an expert in flu symptoms, but it looks like Kenny is pretty healthy at this point. And I mean, a healthy Ken Roxon at Glendale, I mean, you just can't go past it. And then Ando as well. I mean, another week of a bit of rest, bit of confidence from getting a good start and leading half of the main. Like, for the most part, is a good starter. I mean, in the Triple Crown, I mean, this could really be an opportunity to get one over on the sports books this weekend.
Yeah, well said, mate. Obviously, AP, he's had that sickness too, had that tangle with Ferrandis that scuppered him. And you heard Weege saying that Plessinger had the points lead this time last year. So for him to get a
Yeah.
podium at $13, if he's fully fit and firing, obviously announced that you can buy the cowboy hat now. So there's a release of that. So maybe it's shaping up nicely for AP at $13 for a podium.
Oh yeah, and like unfortunately for AP, like one of the fan favorites. Especially like you said, this time last year he had the points lead, had got his first win after a couple of heartbreakers, and then yeah, this year unfortunately it just has not gone to plan. Like been struggling with the flu. That's hard enough as it is, and then coming together with Sexton at the second round, that held him back a bit, and then yeah, unfortunately, just the collision with Ferrandis, which I don't know, like what happened in that one. Like he come together with him, but it almost seemed like, and Ricky said it as well. It's almost like he missed his break or something, or maybe the track was a little bit slick and he like got on the brakes and like especially on those shiny spots when you land under braking, you almost gain speed like rather than like it getting traction on the down ramp, you kind of just like skid off it and shoot off, and it might have caught him off guard. And then yeah, got caught with Ferrandis. The throttle housing went in Ferrandis's back wheel and got chewed up, so he was out after that. So yeah, it's a bummer start to the season for him. But I mean, you know what? I got faith in the Cowboy. I think he's going to right the ship here in a little bit. Get healthy, get things dialed in a little bit, and then at some point this season, I'll be hammering him as well. Might even be a dark horse for a podium this weekend now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah,
He's got the deck stacked against him right now. Been a shitty start to the season, but I feel like AP could right the ship on this one. And you know what? Paying good just for a podium. So
yeah.
it wouldn't hurt to throw him in there for that one.
Yeah, well said, mate. And it's quite strange. Justin Cooper's at $7.50 for the podium. Anderson's at $5. But you look at the to win odds. Anderson's at 29, but Cooper's at 76. So he's shorter than Anderson to make a podium, but like almost not far off, 3 times more for the win, which is strange. But anyway, we'll just keep moving on with that one. But the odds makers will probably rectify that. But yeah, Justin Cooper, what a mixed bag of a weekend. Missed the direct transfer to the main in the heat. Did the LCQ to build the momentum and got such a great start. So Triple Crown short of racing. Jay Coop could be on the podium there. You never know, mate. But the odds aren't super great at $7.50. Might be worth a couple of dollars, but yeah, he certainly showed what he can do. And if he can skim the whoops, because that was costing him a lot of time jumping them, he'll be a massive force.
Yeah.
And not often you get 3-star guys outside the top 5. They went 6, 7, and 8. So look out for Tomac and Webb as well.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, Jacob, I mean, what a mixed weekend for him. Like, getting caught up in the heat race, having to go to the LCQ, and then like won the LCQ, and then just got an absolutely blazing start from the outside, which I thought was damn near impossible, even for a factory bike nowadays. Like you got to have Michael Lessie type skills to pull that off. And then yeah, like ran up front for a bit in the main, and then like slowly faded towards the end. Like ended up with a 6, which is still a solid finish for him. And then you know what, he could probably take some confidence from that. And then you know what, for the most part, he can start, like especially back in his 250 days. Like he was guaranteed like top 3, like out of the gate, like Supercross or Motocross. He was always up there. And so, yeah, if he gets those dialed in, and especially with these with these shorter main events, he could also have a sniff at a podium too, I reckon. So yeah, at 750, I mean, not crazy odds. Like 750, like not too bad, but not out of this world. But you know what? If you're feeling confident, yeah, you'd throw some money on him too. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, mate, and you have much to say about Tomac and Webb. You know, what are you thinking of them? You think they're ready for a bounce back? Obviously, they both won't be happy with that. Just terrible starts. I think Webb was 13th and Tomac was, around there just spinning off the gate. So they'll be chomping at the bit to have a bounce back and get back in that championship picture. It's pretty tight at the top. I think it's the top five separated by 10 points. So should be pretty good stuff heading into Glendale, where Tomac, you'd probably back him to get those starts back on point, you'd imagine, mate.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a little bit surprising, even though Tomac with a bad start. I thought it was probably going to be a minimum, like at least minimum top five finish, like back from where he come from, which he had done at Anaheim 1. Like he was on the deck, came from last, and made his way back to 5th by the end of it. And then, so like to have a round like this where it was just a bad start, but just struggled to make his way through the field. And so, like, that was a little bit surprising to me. And then, yeah, Coop as well, like, same thing, bad start, just really couldn't make any headway. So like, yeah, those guys are due for a bounce back. Coop, another one of the riders that is, like, been battling, like, an illness as well. So he's been a bit under the weather as well. So, like, Coop's, yeah, also due for a bounce back here at some point. Like, definitely a very good chance at a podium. Like, I forget what Coop's odds were on that one. I'm gonna just check
$3 for Cooper and $1.71 for Tomac.
Yeah. So, like, definitely like a $3.20 for Cooper Webb, especially on a track like this where like it's gonna like be hard, slick, and then like once the insides of the corners have to start being used a bit more, he's like one of the best at that, just using the low lines. And then like what we see out there's a lot of 180s on this track. Like the track map came out, there's only one 90-degree corner around the whole thing. Other than that, it's all 180s. And Coop's the best at like able to hold a tight line and still make the obstacles after it. Like to me, he's like the best guy at doing that. So yeah, so Coop, I feel like this track could suit Coop a bit. And then yeah, bounce back weekend, podium, maybe a win if he is able to get 3 solid starts in. Who knows? So yeah, I'm talking myself into some serious bets here. I might even have to reload the account and just put a few more on now that I think about it.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about Webb, you can never write him off, even if he's had an average round. He always comes out swinging. And, especially as the series heads to that east side as well, mate, he's an absolute weapon, like you said. So it's going to be pretty good. Obviously, another couple of things from the 450s was Prado dislocating that shoulder, really not what you want. And it's been announced that he'll miss this weekend. So like we said, the aim was just to stay healthy, make all the rounds, learn as much as possible, then have a full assault at that outdoor title, because on motocross, there's not too many better in the world, mate. So your take on that, and obviously a little bit of chat on the Deegan, Juju sort of comments, having some digs at each other, social media, press conferences, on the track as well, a little bit of banging as well. But yeah, Deegan, commanding effort for sure. He was definitely due that. You wouldn't have thought it would take him 3 rounds to get the win, but yeah, he's stewing nicely. The storyline's stewing nicely. He doesn't mind getting a bit aggressive, and, he backs up the talk and he walks the walk. So how's that one going to play out, mate? Just grab the popcorn and watch it and create some social content out of it, probably.
No, it's definitely making for some good entertainment right now. And I mean, like, especially the way he got into Beaumare in the heat race, it was like, in the end, I think, like, it was, I think he definitely did mean to run him up high, put it that way. But yeah, Juju ended up on that shitty part of the berm, like where it goes soft. His front wheel got caught in it. He went down. But you know what? I reckon, from deep, like, I know people, like, there was people absolutely blowing a gasket at the move. I wasn't too big of a fan of it, but I was also kind of a fan of it, if that makes sense, because it was kind of one of those things like that you kind of got to do. You got to rough him up a little bit. I mean, these guys are going for a championship. I don't blame them for getting into each other, like 100%. I mean, there's a lot of money, there's a lot at stake here. Both guys want to win, like, bad, and so like to have a move like that, and then Juju went to return the favor in the main, like got into him a bit, and like I mean, it's just like it's entertaining as hell to watch. So yeah, I mean, some people are going to be mad about it, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to get in, you got to show them you're there, you got to rattle their cage a little bit, which is what the great Dale Earnhardt used to say back in the day. So like, hey, you got to rattle the cage, like somehow, some way, you got to throw them off their game. So, and I mean, like, I reckon like probably the one that reminds me most of it was like the '07 season where it was Dungey and Jason Lawrence. And then, Dungey being young, I mean, both these guys are young. There was, J-Law had been in the class like a year or so. Well, they were the same age as well. It's kind of like a carbon copy, really. And like, yeah, Dunge won the first few races, like looked like he was on the way to the championship. J-Law struggled, and then J-Law started gaining a bit of steam. Then he was just in Dungey's ear flat out, just like trying just anything just to shake him. And then Dunge ended up, that was a season where like he just completely capitulated. And, like in the end, it was probably a good thing for Dunge. I mean, it would have been hard for him at the time, but that like showed him like what he had to do and like how to mature and, how to like gain like a lesson from that, even though it sucks at the time. Like he just learned from it, and then like he went on to one of the greatest careers like after that. And then it's a similar sort of deal with Deegan and Beaumont. Deegan's going to talk. He's going to be trolling you online. Like you give him an inch, he's going to take a mile. And like I love it. I love sitting back and seeing stuff like this. And then like the fans, like you're going to have fans from all different sides, like some are gonna hate it, some are gonna absolutely love it. So yeah, it's just fireworks all around, and I love to see it. I'm all about it.
Yeah, mate, it's going to be really good. It would have been awesome if Shimoda stayed healthy to get himself in that battle too, because he would have been there, wouldn't he? Another brave effort battling through.
Yeah, just another like stand-up effort by Joe. Like to have that happen, like coming in with like riding with two broken fingers, that just must be like brutal. Like, luckily, it's not like any of his clutch or like braking fingers where you got to pull it in. But yeah, riding with that just must be brutal. And like for him to be out there is just, but man, that is just toughness like you wouldn't believe. So, and then like if he could get through, two Triple Crown races like with a decent result, like even a top five. It's gonna be a hard mountain to climb after that. Say if Deegan or Beaumont come out with the win, that's gonna be a hard mountain to climb, even with like a couple of weeks off, and like if he's able to heal up like enough to where he can get back to like 90, 100%. After a couple of weeks off, like he could still be in it, and like we've seen it in championships before, where like anything can happen at any given time, especially with these 250 classes. Like just anything can happen. You just don't know. Yeah. So yeah, you just gotta stay in the fight really. And if he's able to stay within a 25-point deficit by the end of the Triple Crown, and he's able to go into a couple of weeks off and get healthy and be ready for the next couple, I think he's still well within a shot at it. It might be tough, but I think he can stay in this thing 100%.
Yeah, well said, mate. Hopefully, he has another solid weekend at the office, banks some points, and sort of stays in that hunt. And I guess we've got to give a lot of praise to Cole Davies. Obviously, we've spoken a lot about him, how impressive he is for that age at 17. He's made huge progress, obviously, from the futures and all that. So, yeah, he's obviously a funny lad as well. You heard him say that he's going to celebrate with some Whitakers, having a chat with your good mate, Jason, afterwards. But, yeah, that's some good chocolate, mate, and he's probably enjoyed it because he's certainly deserved it.
Oh, man, 100%. I mean, what an effort from him. like just like the start to his pro career has just been unreal. Like for a kid that grew up not around much Supercross and is only like just recently just started finding his feet in Supercross. Like the improvement he has made, like even since the couple of futures races he did last year, like he and like the one thing that was like surprise, well not surprising, well a little bit surprising to me on the weekend was like his speed and his technique through the whoops. Like for a young guy, and not only a young guy, like he's not the tallest guy. Like he's pretty short, man, and it's always tough for like it's always been tough for short guys through the whoops. And like he, especially with a pretty gnarly set of whoops on the weekend, like two back to back whoops, and the way he was getting through them, I was like, man, like he is like just getting dialed in quicker than what I could have ever imagined. And like, yeah, it's just so good to see. And like his interviews are just absolutely elite. Like like coming out and saying like he was on MX Simulator the night before, so he knew the track. Like that's just awesome. Like I love it. And hey, maybe it did help him. I'm starting to think, God damn, I should have been on the Xbox building these tracks the night before and then racing them. Maybe I would have improved. But yeah, no, it's just awesome to see. And like, yeah. And like, yeah, he just seems like the type of dude that is just super laid back. Like in his interviews, he's just like, like he just feels like he's got the shaka up the whole time. Like it's just it's so good. I mean, I love this kid. Like I love watching him ride and like, yeah, just like seeing the dude up there in general. Like, yeah, this dude's just a classic.
Yeah, mate, good to see another Kiwi doing some great things over there, making strides. Obviously, Townley's young bloke in EMX as well. When that season starts, to be cool to see him following up as well, following the dad's footsteps if he can. But yeah, some really impressive young riders like Daniel Blair was saying, these next crop of youngsters in America. Very impressive. Davies, obviously Deegan's still young. And obviously Drew Adams as well, mate. Really impressive debut. Obviously, a lot of pressure, weight of expectation in some ways on that PC race team, High expectations. Mitch expects the best and pretty disastrous set of circumstances again for them this year with the injuries and whatnot. Obviously, they had Kitchen withdraw and he's obviously racing the other coast and then Marchbanks and Masterpool. So Adams is flying the flag and he did extremely well too, didn't he, mate? So only 16, I believe. So it's pretty phenomenal how good these kids are at Supercross already, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh man, like he had an awesome weekend, and I mean to come in under the circumstances that he was in there for, with just all three of their West Coast guys just going down, just like left, right, and center. And I believe they even said like they got him out to the test track on Friday because like he wanted to do it, but apparently Mitch got him out to the test track and was like, I need to see you ride on the soupy track, and I need to see if like I'm even going to be willing to put you out there. And yeah, like obviously he did well enough to where Mitch like gave him the go ahead and said, all right, yeah, let's let him race. And like, yeah, just put in a solid performance all night. Yeah. Like you couldn't ask for much more for a 16-year-old kid to come in under those circumstances and like put in a ride like that. Like that was just a unreal effort from him. And like, yeah, like hopefully he can stay healthy as well and like just keep building experience. Like keep him in there, like get him the experience, like get him like used to being out there with the top guys. And yeah, just yeah, let him get the ball rolling. Yeah, because yeah, from what I've seen, like he just looked solid all night. Like wasn't like blazing quick, but like just looked like he rode within his own zone, which was awesome, which is what you want to see out of a young fellow like that. And yeah, I thought it was awesome. It was a 10 out of 10 night for him in my eyes.
Yeah, look forward to seeing him build through the season as well. He got a lot of talent, quite a bigger bloke as well for a youngster, so it'll be good to see him going. Obviously, Cody Shock, we were talking about him, how fast he was at the previous rounds and then banked the top five. Looking like he might have been in a podium contention there, but another great ride for him and that Club MX team. he's done it the hard way in many ways, had a lot of different teams and some adversity here and there, mate. So really cool to see that fifth. So some words on him. And also Moseman getting seventh, obviously had some really good speed in heat races this year, but he's had some shocking starts in the main. So I reckon he could be up there for podium contention, a man you know well, obviously. So look for Moseman, get a good start in one of those triple crowns at least. Would be a pretty good night for him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, to start with Cody Shock, I mean, like, yeah, we talked about, he's a dark horse for a podium in this class and came out with a heat race win to start the night off, like, which was awesome to see, especially like for him being like one of the journeymen of the sport, been a privateer, then been on a couple of teams prior to this, like just building his way up, found a new home and like a good fitting with this Club MX Yamaha team. And then putting in a solid fit. I think that's 2 fits for him on the season. So 2 top 5 finishes on the season so far. And then definitely will have, to me, I reckon he'll have at least 1 or 2 podiums by the end of this season. Like with the way he's riding at the moment, like he's riding solid. And then with Mike Moseman as well, like with the 7th, like that was awesome to see as well. Just can't seem to get a start in the main. Like he's had very good heat races so far. Just seems to come alive in the heat race. But for Mick, just I don't know what it is. Just the starts have just been killing him in the main, and like just with the speed of these guys so far, if you're starting outside the top 10, it's going to be tough to crack the top 5 at this rate. Like just with how fast these dudes are going. Yeah, so yeah, I like what I'm seeing out of Mike. Like for me, the big thing for this season for me on Mike, I just want to see him healthy. Like I want to see him just, their race. I just want to see him at all the races, just getting seat time under the belt, which he hasn't had much of over the last couple of years. So yeah, I just want to see him gain that confidence back because it was only a couple of years ago. Mike had just won a main event and was in the hunt for the West Coast Supercross Championship against Hunter Lawrence and Christian Craig. Like, I mean, we're quick to forget about that. So I know what he's capable of, and yeah, I know he can get back there at some point, and I know he's putting in the work for it. I mean, the guy is just like ruthless when it just comes to getting better. So yeah, just hopefully he can stay healthy. But yeah, the thing with him, just got to get the starts, just got to be in the top 5. Up there with the front guys from the get-go and like get that toe with them.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well said. And obviously, as we look ahead to the round, mate, you got some predictions as well. Obviously, last week I took a note of them. You had in the 250s, you had Juju, Deegan, and Smith. So pretty close. Smith should have really got the podium.
I almost had all 3 of them on there. Just wouldn't have got the order right, but at least I would have had all 3 on there. And then, unfortunately, Smith had that over the bars excursion in the whoops on the second last lap, I think it was. And he foiled my plans on that one. But yeah, and then in the 450, I think I went Jet, Tomac, Sexton, or Jet, Sexton, Tomac, I believe.
But you took home the money, mate, with the Jet pick.
Yeah, hey, got on the board for the first time this year, which was unreal to see. I was able to lock up my first win on the sports books with Supercross this year. So, yeah, I was pretty chuffed.
Yeah, mate, well said. And who you got for Glendale? And obviously looking back through your Racer X Vault, you've got January 2015 Phoenix Supercross, 18th place, mate. You got any memories from that race? And give us your picks for the weekend too.
Oh, yeah, that was, yeah, I got some good memories from Phoenix. I always loved that place. And this is when I never raced over there when they've now moved into this Glendale stadium. It was always Chase Field. It was the baseball stadium, which was also an awesome venue. And, I really like Phoenix. Like, Phoenix is an awesome city. Yeah, I always like going there. And then I think, I'm pretty sure that year was the only time I got to race there. So yeah, not the best night that night, but I had been to Phoenix a few times, just always loved that place. Good people, and good place. And for the 450, I mean, I'm going to be a little biased here because I got money on the fella, but I actually truly believe Kenny's got a good shot at the win this weekend. So I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go off the deep end here. I'm gonna go Kenny. Kenny for the win. Webb second. Tomac third.
Ooh.
Call me crazy after the last one, but I mean we have seen Jet like have some bad rounds at the Triple Crown in the past, and I could be dead wrong here. I mean, like I said, I'm going off the deep end with these ones, but and then you know what? Wouldn't shock me if Jet comes out and wins this one as well. You know, winning two races on the hop. But yeah, I've got a feeling Kenny's going to come out swinging this weekend. So I'm going to go Kenny, Cooper Webb, Eli Tomac. That'll be my 450 podium.
250s?
Yeah, 250s. I reckon Deegan goes back to back on this one. I think he gets the confidence going. Juju gets rattled a little bit, although Juju could prove me wrong this weekend and he could come out and, you know, come out with a head of steam. So for the Triple Crown here, the Triple Crown is just always, that one always throws a spanner in the works because it's always you just have one bad moto and then that kind of wrecks you for the rest of the night. So I'm going to go Deegan, Beaumare, and then, I think, you know what? Yeah, I think I go, for the third. God, this one's got me rattled on this one just because it could be all over the place. I'm going to go, far out. Now I'm blanking here. I'm blanking on this one. Deegan, Beaumare, Shimoda. I reckon Joe pulls out a third. Rattled with injuries and all. He pulls out a third, stays in the hunt. I think he just keeps it consistent. I feel like one of those guys, you know, Deegan or Beaumare, you know, that either have a tip over or something in one race. He's able to score some good points. Like two solid motos for Joe would be big, like, you know, just being in the top 5 each one of those. And then, yeah, you know what? 2 solid races, then anything can happen in the third.
Bit of a Stephen Bradbury, like you mentioned on that Pulp MX interview, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just hang back and then just let one guy have some mishaps. And then you're just there to pick up the scraps. That's it. That was my game plan in Supercross all those years.
Oh, that's awesome, mate. Good value stuff. But yeah, thanks again for joining us, mate. But any final thoughts before we let you go? What's the weekend looking like for you? You've obviously got your bets placed. You're going to be delivering the content, mate, so it should be another banger, shouldn't it?
Oh, man, this weekend, we'll be doing a bit of housework, but then Sunday when it comes around, do a bit of housework Saturday. You know what? I'll put in my due diligence around the house and then give myself a good box. And then, Sunday it'll probably be a morning of golf. And then just straight, after that's done, just straight into Soupy.
Oh, mate, sounds good. Enjoy it. Now, definitely thanks again for joining us on this one. Before I let you go, we'll thank the sponsors in Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silkerland for all their incredible support, as without them, none of this would be possible. All right, Jats, mate, thanks again for joining us on this one. Been another cracker, and we'll speak again next week.